Okay, yo, this is Steve. This is episode 1 of the podcast, the Stuck You podcast. Today I'll just be going an overview of, what I hope to do with this whole series, a little bit of background and, just show you guys what's up. So without further ado, play the intro.
What's up, you mother suckers? Get jiggy with us. You know why? Because we're stuck on the island.
And this is Steve. This is the Stucky podcast. For those that don't know, Stucky is stuck on an island. StuckonAnEYELAND. Check me out on my website. Blah blah blah. This is the first podcast. I don't know how my girlfriend is feeling right now. She's on the couch, just chilling, listening to me while I record this. And it's kind of one of those feelings where, you get online and you get on the air, you have an idea of what you want to do and you have this fire. And then once like the camera starts rolling, your mind just goes blank. You're just like, oh crap, I don't know what to do. But, with that, welcome. So, the way I'm going to try to do this is I have like a camera rolling and then I have my voice recorder going as well. And so if you want to see any of the visuals, I'll be drawing sometimes. I'll be, looking at articles, looking at different things, doing a little bit of both. I have my Wacom set up, on the table as well. And, I also have a screencast so you guys can see what I'm like looking at on my screen while I'm talking. And so it's trying this out. Me and my girlfriend are getting ready to do another podcast where we're both going to be doing the same thing. We both have 2 mics and stuff. And it's going to be more like health education and a little bit of art stuff. But this is pretty much just me by myself. I was just thinking that, over the past couple years, as I'm like leaving, college athletics, graduating, moving on into the real world. And, my friends are having success. Other people have podcasts. Other people are still playing, all that stuff. I'm kind of just at this point where, I was always a kid behind the camera and, I always had, a bunch of friends doing stuff and I'd always try to record it, make little videos and then put it out there. Since everybody is kind of doing their own thing and everybody has their own stories, I figured it would be an opportunity for me to, do the same thing is, tell their stories. I wouldn't say that I'm a journalist, but, I'm a creator. I make comics. I do a whole bunch of different things, and try to put creativity at the forefront. And so, with this whole podcast thing, one, I feel like it gives me an opportunity to catch up with my friends. A lot of guys that like I haven't really seen in a while, guys that I played with that are, off in the league or, starting their own businesses and stuff like that. But, at least since I graduated and, moved out to Portland and stuff, a lot of people have been doing really, really good. And, with my success, I want to at least kind of redefine myself, as, not just being a has-been or, a football player, but, just a, creator. Like if I were to say, cause like the whole has-been thing is, it gets to you sometimes, especially if you like pretty much put all your eggs in one basket and, like put your whole heart into your craft and then, either injuries get you or, you like just stuff, life happens, and then you don't ultimately get your goal, that's, finding that new way to like figure out what your purpose in life is. It's definitely a journey, and, as I'm like thinking about it, a lot of guys that I grew up, I played with and worked out with, every day. They've dealt with that, and they've dealt with that in their own unique way. And, I think it's just something that like people are just now starting to like talk about, but like growing up and like, they always tell you like, oh yeah, like try to stay in schools, try to do all those things. But when it really hits you, you're just like, whoa, I was not prepared for this, and then you think about all the things back then that like you hated, and then all the stuff that you kind of took for granted. But it's pretty nostalgic when you look back at it and you see guys going through that same thing, and it just brings you back to a certain place. And I definitely want to talk about those things with guys that are, especially guys that have, made the transition or in the process of making the transition. Because obviously guys that haven't really done much but play, they haven't really been forced to do that, or they have opportunities from playing. And I would say like I kind of fit in the middle of both of those. I played. How many years did I play? I played since I was 11 to 20, 23, 24. Yeah. 11 to 24. 23. Yeah, it's 23 because I finished in 2014. So, 11 to 23, that's 12 years. 12 years. Yeah, that's 12 years. So that was more than half my life. And, from there, I had injuries, I had all these things going on, and it's tough, but, before I start, going off on rabbit holes, if you're looking at me, looking at the screen, I'm on the website, stuckoneyeland.com. And, I've gone through a lot of different projects, or I've gone through a lot of different phases of the website, but this is one that I definitely like a lot more. If you guys have followed any of that stuff, just go to that about page, and so like, what is Stuck on an Island? Stuck on an Island, for the most part, it started in 2011, after I had my second hip surgery, going into my second hip surgery. So started 2011 in like during the summer when I was at University of Hawaii, and I ended up taking like a comic book class, and the comic book class was like a writing intensive. So it was like a comic book class and it was a writing intensive, so it was like the perfect freaking like summer school class. Mind you, like I played football, so we had to stay on campus, and we had to take a class to like get any sort of like financial aid and stuff to stay on campus. So we had to take classes and stuff, and so from there, took my classes, took that, and it introduced me to like comic book illustration, all those different things that like I kind of liked, but I never really got into it. And I'll take you on like another story probably later on in another podcast about like how I got into comics truly. But it was one of those things where like I was forced to read comics for the class, but I also like appreciated it to the point where like I got every Boondocks comic that went to print way back when like Borders was like liquidating all their stuff. I just got all that mess. And so if you see like the bookcase behind me, you'll see, if you really look closely, you'll be able to see like every single volume of the Boondocks in like a little corner. But I digress. So I was working, and I was trying to I was trying to like do well on class and stuff, and I did well. I ended up doing a couple of extra credit things, and which were like making comics. And so me and my first couple of comics for the class got a pretty decent grade from there. And I was like, oh, what if I make like a webcomic? So this was back in 2011. Wix wasn't even popping, none of that stuff. Facebook is barely getting off. People were just now starting to get Android phones. And so, like it was definitely pretty early. I think I made it as like a blog spot, like a blogspot website. And then I got like a domain from like Google them, like off of Google for like $10 a year or something like that. And the hosting was free because I was using a Blogspot space. And so I made like some comics, started posting it there. And then from there, I ended up getting my second hip surgery in like November. And so just leading up to that, you know, I played through the season, stuff like that. And then I ended up getting injured, quitting the team, and having my second hip surgery. And so during that time, I just started getting more into comics, you know, just trying to recover, rest, all that good stuff until I could see if I could play again. And so having 2 hip surgeries, you know, it was one of those things where you're just like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it back. For me, in my mind, I was kind of stubborn. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'm definitely going to play again. It's just a matter of where. I didn't really want to play at Hawaii anymore. You know, my coach was kind of a prick. And so, you know, some coaches I like there, but like other coaches, you know, they're, I mean, like 1 or 2 in particular, they're kind of pricks. And so, so I kind of just had to go to a different place. And so, like I just started just working on comics. I got on with the paper, like the Kaleo, it was like a daily paper, where I was doing comics for them. And I found out that like, you know, I could make a comic for like, you know, 30 minutes and get paid like $25 a pop. And so if I made like, you know, spend like a couple hours a day, making comics, I could get paid, for publications and stuff. And then, you know, you go around the campus, you pick them up, people see them and stuff. So it was like instant gratification. And so, you know, those were like the things that I started doing after, and just to like kind of test to see where I was at and stuff like that. And it really became like, you know, political cartoons and stuff, kind of like, I would say I modeled my style and stuff off of the Boondocks. Let me see if I can find some of the comics, because I always have all these things in a lot of different places. Oh yeah, these are definitely the ones. Yeah, so if you guys are looking, this was literally the first series of comics that I made, that I put out there. It was like that one. Yeah, these were the test ones. Yeah, I put out there. Yeah, I'll just keep that up there. Yeah, this was like one of the test ones I did. So I got like, you know, some cardstock paper, at a scanner. I had a nice little setup in my dorm. And it wasn't, no, I was and so I had like a nice little setup in my dorm. But when I started working on this stuff, I actually moved in with this lady, she had a house, and in Hawaii, it's just super expensive to try to find housing around campus, because it's just really expensive. It's Hawaii, obviously. And so, you know, people trying to get over on you and stuff like that. So to find a place for like, you know, less than like $700-800 was tough. And so I found like a place for like $750, ended up getting like a moped and stuff. And I was staying with this lady. It was like a 2-bedroom, like trailer, like shack. Literally, it's like somebody like made it out of like a tin shed and stuff. But it was pretty decent. It was pretty decent though. But she essentially allowed me to move in without a deposit. But she would be traveling in like Africa for like 3 months or something like that. So it was pretty much me in a 2-bedroom like shack for like 3 months. And so while I was doing that, I pretty much had the whole place to myself. Didn't have to worry about her. I just had to make sure I like sent her, like wired her rent money and stuff like that. It's kind of weird situation. And I just started just working on stuff since I wasn't with the team anymore. You know, and I was still recovering and stuff like that. I just literally just like went to class, worked on my stuff, and, you know, I just had time to like fine tune my craft. And so from there, I just started like developing different projects, working for the paper and stuff, and still just like working on my own thing. And, you know, started spreading stuff around, more and more comics, made tons of comics. I think I could find like the folders. Yeah, like volume 1, 2, and 3. Like volume 2, volume 3. Did I do volume 4? Yep, did volume 4. Volume 5. And mind you, this is all when like Trayvon Martin stuff started happening. So I was always on like CNN. I started watching Rachel Maddow, like all those different places, except for, was I watching Fox News? A little bit, I guess. This is before it was like super polarizing. But I really got into like political commentary and stuff like that, which I feel like the Boondocks was too. But the Boondocks wasn't like in print anymore. It was just a show, and it was before like the 4th season or something, like the trash season. So, there was still hope with it. But it was tough. And so, I started just kind of finding my own voice, finding my own style, started dealing with like different styles. And this was all because I wanted to have a cartoon. And so, the goal of trying to like create this whole thing was to create characters, create stories, connect with people, and, give me an outlet, because I was going through things. I think like me and my ex broke up, and we were together for like 4 years, and all these things kind of culminated. Like my parents were getting, separated, and they were getting a divorce. I had 2 hip surgeries. I had all these different things that, that were tough. And, I was all the way out in Hawaii. I think my cousin, Brian was out there, but that was about it, like it was just a lot of stuff that was like just weighing on me, real heavily. And so, it gave me an avenue to like, connect with people and stuff. And so when I finally got back to playing, I ended up going to Oregon State, got on with their newspaper, and started, kind of flourishing and stuff like that. I started getting into video production. I started getting into all these things. And, it was just like when I got there, I would say that it was interesting to, make that transition from like University of Hawaii, which is a lesser school. We were in the WAC before they went to the Mountain West, to like a legit Pac-12 school. And, I was going in there. I was in grad school. I got into grad school, so I was going there in grad school. And it was interesting, like, cause we had a good team. I felt pretty welcome there, and it was probably like my first time I actually had like a really, really good position coach, a really good coach that actually like cared about their players. And so that kind of threw me off a little bit because, like it's one thing to play for a team. It's one thing to, deal with the NCAA and like, all the shady stuff that they do as like an association. But when you go to a school that actually cared about you to the point where like they were actually feeding you, cause like at Hawaii, like we only got fed, we only had like training table or whatever. If we had practice. If we didn't have practice, we weren't getting like training table or anything. And so dudes was starving, like literally to the point where I would, there would be days I would have like pancake Sundays it would be like pancake Sundays where, I would go to Costco, get this huge thing of like, Sam's Club, get this huge thing of freaking like pancake mix. And I would just hit up guys and be like, hey, like I'm making pancakes. Who's trying to come over, and guys would really come over. I make like 50, like literally a legit amount of pancakes. And, we would just chow down and like chill. So like, that was like, what I got used to doing, because my dad would be sending me stuff, sending me like Costco cards and stuff to help me eat and stuff, because like he understood. But like when I got there at Oregon State, like it was like mandatory, eat 3 meals, get all the muscle milks you want, all that stuff. Freaking Hawaii, like it's like we would literally, after workouts, we would literally try to like sneak out 1 or like 2 muscle milks. We would try to sneak out all these different supplements after we work out, because we would have to like gain weight and stuff. And it was just weird to see how like, if we were to abuse these privileges at Hawaii, they would lock up like the freezers and stuff and have us walk by them as, as punishment, quote unquote, where with Oregon State, they just gave you everything. Like it was to the point where I literally gained like 20 pounds my first like month or two there. Cause I was at Hawaii, I was probably like 170, like 170, 178, or 180 was probably like my heaviest, there. And then when I got to Oregon State, I was instantly like 190, like my first, like by my first game. It was crazy. But like just getting there, like coaches were up and like they invited me and everything. I felt like I belonged there. That was the big thing. And I think that definitely like fostered all of like my creative outlets. It allowed me to, explore what I enjoyed. Being in grad school was a very interesting place to be because, I had to, deal with kind of the adult world in school where, I had to go to my job, had to do football, do all that stuff. But then I also had to, I had to stay up late night. I had to read. I had a lot of reading, 8-page papers a week, reading dissertations, trying to figure all that stuff, trying to figure out like what a thesis is, all those different things. And also, doing meetings and networking with all my professors and stuff, just so like they could help me with my projects. And so I would say like all those things definitely culminated in, like the best experience that I could say like any student athlete could ever have, because it was one of those things that like, defined me. And as I look back at it now, it allows me to, it definitely allows me to, just crawl under. Yeah, my girlfriend is like upset that I have the camera up, and she was not trying to go across the camera. She's tired, I suppose. But yeah, it allowed me to, I would say, just, it allowed me to like mature in a way that like I think was beneficial. I'm all banged up and stuff now, but in terms of like my mental fortitude, being able to translate all the skills I learned on the field and translate them to something else, I would say it definitely helped me, gave me a good opportunity to do so. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things. But aside from that, I was, what else to talk about? I don't know. Oh yeah, stuck on and stuff. So yeah, I was, working on all these different things, video production, all that stuff. I think one of my roommates, who ended up being my roommate, Malcolm, he was, like into video production, into all these different things. And so, I would always be trying to like help him out with different things, help him out with different videos, help him out with all the projects that he was working on, and even like his clothing line and stuff. And then from like his clothing line, things started like flourishing, and we're just bouncing ideas off of each other to the point where we just started making stuff ourselves. We have video shoots, photo shoots, all that stuff. And it was, I would say it was a good experience to have somebody there that had their own thing going on. From time to time, we would like butt heads and stuff like that. So from time to time, me and Malcolm would butt heads, stuff like that, just creative differences. And it's a natural process of things, but, to have somebody there that kind of respected what I was doing and me respecting what he was doing, was really good. I always get a kick out of it because, one of like the disagreements that we had with like designs was he was trying to like figure out a way to like rebrand his stuff. So like I came with this whole design plan that he had, and like I know I have it too. I had this whole design plan that we were working on, and let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, that's not it. Yeah, had this whole design plan that we were working on, and dang, where is it? Oh, Project 2. Yeah. Like, whole design plan that we were working on. And I presented it to him. Like, it was a lot of cool stuff that, like, I thought was, like, would, like, kind of take his idea to the next level. Presented it to him. It's kind of like a comic book theme. And he looked at it, and you could tell, like, he wasn't really feeling it. And so, so from there, I ended up, like, taking the whole idea. So if you're looking at this, it's pretty much like his thing was like the two towers. So I ended up making like a different sort of look to it. Like the space wasn't there, and so instead of it being like an I and an L with like a cityscape, it was just like two L's and then like a cityscape in the background. And then I had like some bears, like the bear logo that he had, and a few other little things there. Like a bear logo with like a Power Ranger theme bear logo, like Superman theme, Spider-Man, all those different ones. I presented it to him. He wasn't really feeling it. So then I just kind of like scrapped the idea. And like maybe like a year or two later, I had like, when I was staying with my cousin, I ended up like revisiting the idea and like pretty much turning it into the project that I have now, Iltopia. And, it's just like little things like that where like you just play with ideas, play with things, you present things. If they don't go well, you could always use them later, all that different stuff. It's, like the creative process and how, you just got to keep pushing. All that stuff really just, it was a blessing. It was one of those things that like, I just learned all that stuff from just the process of creating and, feeling welcome at Oregon State. And it's just one of those things that like it's really hard to describe in words like how fortunate I feel about it, and so from there, like I ended up making like Pokemon Twerk Team stuff that ended up like blowing up pretty big to the point where like I remember going to let me see if I could find. Oh, bear stands. Yeah. So Ranger stands was where I made all the different logos with like the L. You could see the L there, the Just Too Nice L, the bear logo, all that stuff. And I kind of presented it to him. He wasn't really feeling it, but such is life. I was able to make it into something. But freaking Pokemon Twerk Team, which was literally like an idea that I came up with like at like 3 o'clock at night. YouTube. Yeah. 5 years ago. 5 years ago, stuck on Island. It was 358,000 views now. Ended up making like four different versions of it, and then like obviously like a whole bunch of ripoffs that spew from that as well. And yeah, it's weird because I could literally like send like cease and desist to people that like copy my stuff now, and so that I kind of get a kick out of that. But it's neither here nor there. Spread the wealth. Who cares? But yeah, it was like I made that. Then word got around to like the coaches that that I was like making weird videos. I ended up making a video that kind of depicted it depicted dogfighting, and it was with one of our friends' dog, but it depicted dogfighting or implied dogfighting, and I kind of freaking Riley took me into his office, and he was like, "Yeah, Steve, I appreciate all the creativity and stuff that you do, but like if I see anything like that, you know, you like you're not going to be a part of this team essentially. And so I was just like, okay, you know, I'm definitely not going to do that anymore. Or at least, you know, you realize the impact of the stuff that you do. And that was, I would say that's a pretty eye-opening thing in terms of like, you know, I'm pursuing all the stuff that like I enjoy. But, you know, there's a fine line that I can't really cross just because of, you know, the position that I was in. And, you know, you kind of have to just be conscious of that. And I think it's something that you could translate to the real world in terms of, you know, like, yeah, I was playing football, all these things. And, you know, like there's just certain things that you can't do, certain things that you can't, you know, make or create or put out there because of the, you know, the way it looks. You know, you kind of have to put on a facade or a face and, you know, within reason, mind you, like, I'm talking about, like, you know, creativity. I'm not talking about, like, freaking, like, MAGA hat wearing and stuff where, you know, I'm, like, trying to belittle people. It's, you know, like, sleight of hand with the camera for the most part. And so those things kind of just, you know, I would say it's just one of those things where you know, you just got to be conscious of it. That's really what it comes down to. You know, you have to be conscious of what you put out there and how you put it out there, stuff like that. And, you know, those are things that like I've definitely, you know, learned either from, you know, the stuff that I'm trying to pursue. I'd be like medical school, you know, got to be aware of like how your social media is, what you retweet, all those different things, what you say. But, you know, it's also, you know, like you're a brand now. And with this, it always started as something that that always resonated with me, you know, like Stuck on an Island. Football, you talk about Stuck on an Island, you talk about, at least as a DB, you know, it's when you're pretty much, it's just you and that receiver and you know, you're just out on that island. You're out, you know, if you get beat, then it's a touchdown. If you know, like make a play, then like you made that play, you know, unaided. It's to, you know, it's a phrase of just saying, you know, like it's just you against the world for the most part. And, you know, that has always resonated with me, especially when I was at Hawaii. I was literally on an island, you know, and the I part, it's one of those that, you know, like everybody's watching you. Everybody's waiting to see what you're going to do. And you either make a good move or you make a bad move. But either way, that move is going to define you. And so, you know, those things definitely, you know, exemplified like how I wanted Stuck on an Island to be, where, you know, I'm voicing opinions and, you know, people are always going to watch the opinions that I do. When I was playing football. But, you know, from like Pokemon Twerk Team and all the different things that I have going on, you know, I've garnered a following to where, you know, things like people are seeing the stuff that I'm doing and people appreciate it. And I think like those connections definitely help, you know, and it's just one of those things, you know, like you create stuff, you put stuff out there, you have a message behind all the stuff you do, put out books, you try to get people to buy your books. Go to conventions, you try to get people to buy stickers and all this stuff and support you long term and have them see the progression of it, you know. And so, you know, with this podcast, I'm definitely trying to, you know, do a whole lot of different things. I definitely don't know what it is. You know, Stuck on an Island started off as a blog, literally on Blogspot. I tried to find it. I don't know where the Blogspot. I don't know if Blogspot even exists anymore. Freaking you know, try to find Blogspot, can't find it, but you know, I always found it as an avenue to, you know, express how I thought, express what I felt like, express all the different things that I wanted to create and put out there, and the messages that I wanted to you know, put at the forefront of all the stuff that I create. Because for me, like I don't just make stuff just to make it. You know, there's always a connection, a personal connection for me to make things. There's always a personal connection for me to, you know, put things out there and tell messages and inspire people to be creative, you know, and dare to be different, all those different things. And so, you know, it's hopefully this is an extension for me to like tell people the behind the scenes look, give people stories that I have, you know, of how I got freaking Michael Blackson to, you know, say, give me a shout out, and, you know, my journeys to all these different places and all these projects I've worked on, and how little money I make from any of the stuff they actually do. Even though I have a master's and all those different things, and, you know, what's it like to have a master's and play football and all those different, what's it like to come back from 2 hip surgeries? What's it like to, you know, like decommit from Jim Harbaugh and tell him that I don't want to play with him or play for him, you know, like all those things. I feel like there's stuff there, you know, so, you know, definitely in the comments and stuff, I'll figure out what to do and how to upload this, you know, and, you know, I'm learning, you know, this is definitely a test to see what stuff I could do with this platform, you know, with the video blog and how long it takes and all that stuff. So I think this is a 30-minute recording. I don't know, freaking 30-minute recording or something. But, you know, yeah, 38 minutes, man, dang. So yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I definitely rambled on a lot more than I wanted to. Wanted to make sure this thing was like 15 minutes. Definitely made it 40 minutes. So I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.